Hello.
That's my audience. Hi, my name is Julia, and today I'm going to tell you about a woman that I've always admired. Imagine for a moment being deaf and blind. The obstacles you would need to overcome to lead a productive life would seem insurmountable. Hellen Keller was born on June 27, 1880, in Alabama, and was born perfectly normal. She started speaking at 6 months and was walking by a year. However, in 1882, at just 19 months, she became very ill with what the doctors called brain fever. The high fever broke within a few days, but the damage had already been done. Hellen Keller was left deaf and blind. Over the next several years, Hellen and her companion-like nurse would develop over 60 signs to communicate. Hellen still found life very difficult with such a limited scope of communication. The frustration eventually led to extreme temper tantrums with kicking and screaming. She was an absolute terror to those around her and made their lives miserable. While most felt that Hellen should be institutionalized, her mother refused to give up hope. Her search to find her daughter help would eventually lead her to a woman named Anne Sullivan, and in 1887, Anne Sullivan moved to Alabama, where she would begin teaching Hellen finger spelling. This was the beginning of a 49-year relationship between the two. As Hellen's frustrations grew, so did her temper tantrums. At one point, Anne Sullivan had to isolate her to get her to focus enough to learn. It was hard work, but eventually they made great progress. Once Hellen started learning to communicate, the temper tantrums stopped. She became a learning sponge and soaked up all that she could. In 1880, Hellen started speech class at the School for the Deaf in Boston. It would take her 25 years to learn to speak so that others could understand her. In 1896, she began preparatory school at Columbus College for Young Women. After that, she continued on to Radcliffe College. Hellen learned and mastered several types of communications, including touch lip reading, braille, speech, typing, and finger spelling. With the help of Anne Sullivan and her friend, Hellen Keller wrote her first book, The Story of My Life, in 1904 at the age of 24. After college, Hellen spent the rest of her life learning about the world and how she could improve the lives of others. A small list of her achievements are tackling social issues such as women's suffrage, pacifism, and birth control. In 1950, she co-founded the Hellen Keller Institution for the Blind and Malnutritioned. In 1920, she helped found the American Civil Liberties Union. She joined many organizations to help the less fortunate, including the American Braille Press. She also received many honors throughout her life, including the Theodore Roosevelt Distinguished Service Medal, the Presidential Medal for Freedom, election to the Women's Hall of Fame, along with honorary doctoral degrees from different institutions all around the world. Hellen Keller died in her sleep on June 1, 1968. The life that Hellen Keller was able to live is the reason that I admire her. She is a powerful example of what can be achieved if you refuse to give up hope. The adversity she overcame with persistence and hard work led her to being a respected and world-renowned activist who fought hard and worked for the betterment of others.